Whoa, what is up, Steph? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm loving the golden mic. It looks like it's like a
Oh
trophy there
yeah,
with your rock.
I have another mic, but it didn't connect, so I got this mic from Target, and it's gonna work. It makes
That's
me
like
feel
a
like I'm
pretty
doing
microphone.
stand up.
That's like a pretty
I'm
one.
doing,
You want to trade?
yeah. No, I wanted to have a microphone so I could be heard a little bit better, and I may sing on this episode. I don't know. We'll see how this chat
Do you have like
goes.
a little voice? Do you have a voice?
No, I'm terrible, but
You know what's really
uh,
funny that we did in school? I used to write when I would write notes to my friend, we would do it in rap form. So like whenever we would talk about each other's weekends or anything, it would have to rhyme and we'd put it in rap form. So you can maybe say I have a rap background.
oh, that's what we're gonna do next week. We're having a segment where Steph bars
Honestly,
and picks.
I'm on board for that. I'll rap my picks. Yeah.
All right, let's start the show. We're letting people pile in here right now, guys. We're gonna be interactive this week. All right, if you guys want to chat at me, I'm gonna be reading your chats and we'll be interactive. But welcome to Cheat Sheet, everybody. This is your last stop before you lock. My name is Jared Quay, and you know me. All right. But if you don't know me, which you might not, I used to be a former football player. I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm gonna be piloting this ship. But not alone because we have the wonderful co-host Stephanie Otey. Steph, what's up?
How's it going? We had a great show last week. We had some great outlook and things turned out pretty good. So much happened in the world of football though. So much. So I'm excited to get into it.
I know we got Wyatt's World coming on a little later, guys. I know you guys want to see him, but he's gonna be on later. Before we're gonna have some fun, obviously. We're gonna give you guys some more information on your squares you like, as well as having some fun. Like Steph, why don't you lead us to our first segment, Steph? What you got for us?
Oh, well, speaking of lots of things happening in football, let's play a little game I like to call More or Less. We're going to dive into some things
Ooh.
happening around in the world of football, and you're going to tell me more or less, being with prize picks, you think more of this will happen, or less. If you're hot on it, take it more. Icky about it, take less. You with me?
Oh, right. I'm ready. I like this. What we got? What's the hot headlines for the week?
All right, all right. This was a hot one. I saw you put it on your Instagram. Talking about high paid QBs weren't performing too hot in week one. I know you have some feelings on this, more or less.
I'm going to take more. I think more underperforming high paid quarterbacks because they're like bad right now. Deshaun Watson was terrible, guaranteed money. Daniel Jones got $40 million, looked terrible. And of course, Joe Burrow signed the biggest contract in NFL history, and he got 83 yards. And so the reason why is because you got money to spend. Who's going to be good at
Yeah,
performing when you got money to spend? I'm not on my playbook when I have $50 million in my bank account. No, I'm at the Ferrari store buying a Lamborghini or something.
if it's guaranteed money, you think that they just kick it back?
Yeah, no, Brock Purdy, he's going to do good. Brock Purdy needs to make money. He has no money. Right now, Brock Purdy is driving a Prius to the facility.
No one plays better than a guy in his last year of his rookie contract. All right, this next one. Jets, Ravens bounce back from injuries and be contenders. I mean, huge blows. Two players that I thought had great season long projections in J.K. Dobbins and, of course, Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know how we can stop talking about that, but huge injury on just like the fourth snap,
I'm gonna take
more or less.
less here. I'm sorry. My less is
Oh,
that the Jets and the Ravens will not bounce back. I think the Super Bowl hopes are getting lower. Obviously, Lamar's the face of the Ravens, so he's the gun hole. But J.K. Dobbins was a dog. He was a dog. And then you add the fact of like Aaron Rodgers. And keep in mind, the Jets have never had a good quarterback. Let's be honest. You can go back as far as you can. They have never had a good
Joe
quarterback. Even
Namath.
Brett Favre came.
Joe Namath.
Are you going? Look, you weren't even you. Your parents had met when he was
My
playing.
dad's favorite
Like
quarterback, so I know all about Broadway Joe, but
no,
no
no, no,
no
no,
time for the Jets.
no. They have Mark Sanchez. They have Sam Darnold. Mike White's the best quarterback the Jets have had in the last 15 years. So it was doomed. They couldn't get Aaron Rodgers, two-time MVP, to quarterback that team. That's not going to happen.
I'm gonna do a piggyback off of that. I mean, there's been a lot of like speculation and jokes. We heard that Colin Kaepernick's agent did reach out to the Jets. Are you hot on him potentially getting back in? I think he's at like 35 years old now, hasn't played 6 years, or Cam Newton maybe, more or less on that. Any guys that the
I
Jets maybe
mean,
pick up?
Kaepernick's like 7 years removed from the pros. So like, what I would hate for more, it'd be so against his purpose if he came back and played terrible. So I don't think they should
I don't know if he's
just sign him.
exciting. Yeah.
I mean, even if he's good, it's just 7 years removed from a game. You're gonna have some rust. And then other than that, let's see like RG3. No, I don't think you should sign any of these quarterbacks. I mean, if Jameis Winston's available, get Jameis. But no, you got to rock with your second overall pick. He might still be good.
I will say, I was talking to Kirk Cousins' agent this week, and they made a joke about, hey, him going to the Jets. I'm not putting that out there. It was a joke, but do you think that'd be a fun play to put Kirk Cousins in with the Jets?
I mean, is he that much of an upgrade over Zach Wilson? I mean, if you're not going to get somebody like Tom Brady, if you don't get a Pro Bowler, like a top tier second team All Pro quarterback, rock with Zach Wilson.
All right, more or less. I know the answer to this. You love Bijan Robinson. Is he the real deal? Is he the real deal as a rookie going into the season? Is he that guy?
More. Bijan is him. I saw him in person as a Falcons fan. My brother's on the Falcons. He wasn't even touching the field. His cleats. He's gonna get better. He had a couple of runs where he slipped. I promise you. Don't get me wrong. Algiers a beast. Bijan is him. They don't let you wear number 7 in Atlanta unless you are that guy. And so that's why Bijan is gonna be him.
All right, last one. Brock Purdy, is he the real deal? You mentioned him not getting paid like some of these other guys. Is he that guy? Do you think he can take the 49ers all the way?
I like them more here, okay? I think Brock Purdy is he's got a little Tom Brady-ish in him. He's like people slept on him. He's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He wins games. Like, honestly, who knows what happens in that Rams game? What happens in the Eagles game if he doesn't get hurt. So, like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Purdy. Keep playing that dog. He got the team around him, so I'm rocking with him, all right?
All right.
And now let's switch the subject up, all right? Now it's my turn to give you, all right? And I hope our moderator's ready for us. Is this change here. Steph, let's go to superlatives, all right? I want you to take players from this week's board, and I'm going to give you a topic, and you got to name them, okay? Who is the heartbreaker on this week's board?
I feel like you might be surprised by me saying a Buckeye will break my heart, but it goes in turn with the huge Aaron Rodgers injury. Garrett Wilson will probably break my heart. As good as he is, it took them way too long to give him the ball. He got that dime from Zach Wilson. It was in the third quarter. It just took too long to give him the ball. That's going to break my heart. I want to root for him. I've seen some of his former Buckeye teammates even saying it. Like, it is a heartbreaker, yes, for Aaron Rodgers. But this is a heartbreaker for freaking Garrett Wilson, too. Like, this breaks my heart. This guy deserves so much better. Offensive Player of the Year last year. This breaks my heart in every way, shape, or form. For Jets fans, Buckeye fans, Rodgers, like, all the way around, this is a heartbreaker.
But that touchdown catch he got, like, even if Zach Wilson, I like when Zach Wilson throws bad balls because it gives him more highlight reel. So, like, go ahead, Zach Wilson. Throw that thing 5 yards too far.
For as bad as their O-line was, like, that's why Aaron Rodgers got injured. Zach Wilson kind of hung in there, but it's not.
Yeah. All right, next superlative.
Let's do this next one.
Yep. The troublemaker. Who's the troublemaker on this week's board?
Well, I'm going to have to go with one a little viral in the news sphere is Jamar Chase making a jab at the Browns, calling them elves, because Brownie is the mascot of the Browns. And he was like, oh, we're playing elves. Then he lost to them. Mind you, he only had 39 yards on 5 catches last week. So, I mean, that he kind of like swallowed his words there. But he's a guy that can totally get back on track. He's got a chip on his shoulder. So he can wreak havoc next week. And they're playing Baltimore, so they have a bunch of injuries like we just talked about. I think that he is going to be trouble, maybe with his words, but also on the field, especially with the chip on his shoulder.
There we go. I need him to talk more stuff. I like football better when people were talking crap. It's just, you need old school, yo mama jokes before the game. All right. Next is, who is the diamond in the rough? Who we got for diamond in the rough?
We've been talking a lot of offense. Let's talk some defense. TJ Watt is way too good to play for the Steelers. I mean, he is a diamond in a rough spot. Just looking at how the Steelers perform in their division when Watt is playing, 24-8-1, and that's regardless of whether or not he records a sack. That just shows how much of an impact player he is. Teams are scheming on him. Like they can put 2, 3 guys on him. His presence is known on that team. And it's about the only presence you really need. I mean, speaking of their quarterback, they call him Kenny Pick-Me-Off. So Steelers are in a tough spot. TJ Watt is carrying the load, especially for a defensive player. Diamond in the rough
Hot
to a
take.
T.
They've been
That's
at
a
least
hot take.
500 every year. No, every year since Mike Tomlin. Do you think they get 500
That's
this
because
year
they
or
got
no?
Mike Tomlin. Yeah, I mean, I
Do you
love
think they
Mike
get
Tomlin.
it?
I gotta,
They're in a
I
tough
gotta see
division.
another week. I gotta see another week, but mm, Tomlin has a strong record above 500. So I mean, if you're asking me, will Tomlin do it? Yeah, but like that Steelers team, no,
All
it's gonna
right.
be
Well,
tough.
eventually it's gonna get broken. He's gonna have a year where he gets bad, and they're gonna get a good draft pick and get, hopefully Caleb Williams.
Honestly,
Um,
this could be the year. It's just getting tougher and tougher.
okay. All right. Next one. Who is Prince Charming on this week's board? Who
All
is somebody
right,
you
I
think is gonna
wanted
do good? That is gonna go ahead.
tear it up. I mean, I wanted to take, I mean, Miami Dolphins offense, Tua, Tyreek, take either. I was going to name them the Prince Charming twins, but they are playing the Patriots this week, and if anyone's going to knock them out, it'd be Bill Belichick. He can set something up for them, maybe a trap game there. So I'm going to go with the total prince of our show. We don't talk about him enough. Bijan Robinson. I think that everyone's talking about him. Yeah, you can talk about the reps he's getting against Algier, but he's going to be getting more. He's going to be that top running back for their team. He's in a good spot. You look at his numbers from last week. I mean, like most rookies, they were easing him into it, but he still had 18 touches and made a highlight reel of plays, 10 carries for rushing, 56 yards, 6 catches on 27 receptions, and a touchdown. This guy is all that. He can do anything for the Falcons. He's Prince Charming. He is the talk of the town, and he can walk the walk. He's the real deal. And I'm with you on
B.
that.
Bijan's that guy, and I'm giving insider information. My brother Calais plays for the Falcons, but we have a fantasy league, and he dropped the whole auction budget on Bijan, and I've never seen anyone do that. So he knows something that we don't know. They're gonna feed that guy. He's the face of the Falcons from now on, and he looks good. So definitely Prince Charming. All right, last superlative of the day. Who's the dark horse? You got a dark horse for us, Steph? Somebody.
Yeah, I wanted to go with someone who's probably just not getting talked about enough. And he was named Offensive Player of the Week for the NFC last week. But when you think of the 49ers, you're thinking of George Kittle, you're thinking Debo. But Brandon Ayuk actually led the team in receptions, and he had a 1,000-yard season last year, 8 touchdowns, 78 receptions. He was targeted 114 times, averaged 59.7 yards per game. And he set a career high with 129 receiving yards last week, 8 catches for 8 targets. So I mean, this guy's red hot. He had 2 touchdowns. It was against the Steelers, who we were just talking about. But he's that guy. He's getting lots of looks. He's someone that is going to get lots of looks. And as we've seen, he was 8 for 8. I think he's just not getting talked about enough because there's other big names on their team. But the 49ers is a hot topic. Everyone likes them to lead the NFC. He's a guy that should probably get talked about more when we're talking about the NFC and the 49ers.
They got them dogs. He's like literally the 5th most popular player on the offense. So yeah, hopefully he does it. Steph, I want to play a game with you, and I'm going to surprise you with this one. All right. I want to play a mix and match game. We took 3 players, we took away their projections, and then we added them on. We're going to mix them up. I want you to match the player to their rushing yards projection. You want to have some fun with me?
It's like memory match when we were kids. Like memory match.
Yeah. I want to see you do good, all right? Our 3 candidates for mix and match here, all right? We got Bijan Robinson, Justin Fields, and Nick Chubb, all right?
Okay.
All of these guys are dogs. They're all going to do well. I'm going to tell you their projections now. You tell me which one is which. These are just 3 random, okay? They're not in order. I'll give you that hint, all right?
Okay.
We have 60 and a half yards, more or less, 46 and a half yards, more or less, and 77 and a half yards, more or less. Which one do you think is Bijan Robinson's?
60 and a half. I mean, Nick Chubb is definitely 77 and a half. He's definitely gonna have the most. Nick Chubb's gonna have 77 and a half. Fields is usually in that 60 range, but I'm gonna give. I don't know how many touches Bijan will be getting, but I would say Bijan would probably have less than Fields is playing. They're playing the Bucks. Okay. I know Fields is usually in the 60s, but I would say just because Bijan's a rookie, I'm stuck on these two because okay.
The chat's trying to help you. I don't know if you can see the chat, but they're trying to help you.
I can't see the chat, but I don't want them to help me out. I'm probably gonna because he's a rookie, I'm gonna go with 16 and a half for Bijan. But I don't think it's gonna stay that way. I think later in the season he's gonna out surpass Fields. I know this Fields is always in that mid 60 range. And Chubb is definitely gonna have the most. So I actually think it's in the correct order. But now that makes me question it. But I think it's 60 and a half for Bijan, 64 and a half for Fields, and 77 and a half for Chubb. I'm certain on Chubb.
All right. So you got Bijan with 60 and a half, Justin Fields with 64 and a half, and Nick Chubb with 77 and a half. Can we reveal them, please? Because you did not get it. I'm sorry. Justin
Okay.
Fields is 60 and a half. Bijan Robinson
Okay.
64 and a half. And then lastly, Nick Chubb is
I
77 and
yeah,
a
I knew
half, which
okay.
which is
That's
well,
yeah, Fields
all
is
of those
usually mid six.
all of those are to me, I think, on the lower end, but you never know. Obviously, the chat is saying B. John won't get that, and I hope that's not the case as a Falcons fan. But yeah, that was a good try. You almost got it. And we'll come back next week with a better mix and match, and we'll have more fun. Maybe you throw me on the hot seat. But we're gonna come back, guys, because I see people are wondering where's Wyatt. They're in the chat saying where's Wyatt, where's Wyatt, and he's gonna come up
Where's
soon.
what?
But before then, we're gonna give you guys a cool commercial where maybe somebody on this screen is gonna be premiering in it, guys. So take them away with the commercial. Yo,
How's it
yeah, they've been
going?
looking for you, man. I gotta hype him up though, guys. We walk into the show, Wyatt's World, man. The guy has 200,000 YouTube subscribers. As you can see on his head, a diehard Bills fan, and he's here with us today, man. How you doing today, brother? I'm doing good. I'm trying to help the people green out here. But my question for you, man, obviously, anytime you meet a Bills fan, man, I got a question for you, bro. You're part of the Mafia. Have you broken a table? Nah.
Any furniture broken, anything breaking, like a glass, throw a drink, any damage done. Banned from any bars.
Far from me, but it was all by accident. Nothing was on purpose. So
Have you ever
nothing
been
was
kicked out of a
intentional.
bar? Have you ever been
I
kicked
have
out
in
of a bar?
Minnesota, not in Buffalo.
Minnesota. Okay.
That's where he's from. He's from Minnesota. My question to you is obviously the loss last week had to be painful as a Bills fan. And I'm wondering, did you break anything from that? Like the anger break, not drunken tailgate, like that. They shouldn't have lost to Zach Wilson.
No, so no, they shouldn't have. And I actually picked them to lose before, assuming Rodgers was going to play the whole time. And as soon as he went out, I'm like, all right, we can maybe win now. But the thing about it, the big kicker is I'm a guy who is freshly living with a girlfriend now. So I've got to control those emotions. And with her just right above me, it was a big bite the cheek, grab a pillow and just kind of scrunch it type deal. But inside my head, a lot of things were getting thrown around. So we'll just say that.
I like it, man. Now, it was a fun game to watch, to say the least. But judging as a
Mhm.
Bills fan, I think you said your dad's a Vikings fan, and that was kind of went away from that. I just want to ask you a question off the cusp of just like the Bills have a reputation of being the wildest fan base. I'm gonna give you three fan bases, and you rank them from the
Ooh.
three, one being the worst, and three being the least worst. The Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Cleveland Browns.
When you say worst, do you mean like annoying?
Just yeah, like if you weren't a fan of that team, you would hate those guys.
Pathetic,
Yeah,
annoying,
I'm gonna Philly's
miserable.
bottom. They're bottom because Minnesota going there in 2017, that whole thing. I mean, I'll never forget that. They had the
They take
Philly
pride in being
Philly.
obnoxious.
I mean, that was one of the worst experiences. But how the fans acted towards us is just kind of a stigma. And I'm talking for the Vikings fans there. As far as Cleveland goes, I don't really have anything against the fans at all. I think they're all pretty cool, and I'm a huge Nick Chubb guy, so I feel like we kind of get along. And obviously, the Bills are going to be my people, so I'm never going to say anything bad about them.
What? Okay, I love it. I love it. Well, man, look here. I know you got some selections here, so we're gonna play our next game. It's gonna be called "Let Him Cook." How we play it here is, Wyatt, you're gonna be the chef, and you're gonna give us a square that you like and why. We're gonna give the chat 15 seconds to agree or disagree. If they agree, you keep cooking. You get another pick. If they disagree, you got to put some more spice in that pan and tell them why. And we're gonna see if you can get to 6 picks. If the chat is agreeing with you, we're rocking with you. If they're not, we got to stop you early. Are you ready to play Let Him Cook?
Yeah, let's try it out. Let's do it. I can't take it serious with her doing this right up in the corner of my eye. So it's really hard.
We're cooking, baby. We're cooking, baby. All right, who's the first square for Let Him Cook?
Who's your first? Let's see.
Is it gonna pop up?
Why? What's your first square?
What is it?
Yeah, it's just verbal. It's just verbal. Which one do you like?
Oh, I was not prepared for this. Holy cow! I
can help you out. You chose Trevor Lawrence more than 253.5 yards.
Oh my gosh, why? I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Yeah, anyway, Trevor Lawrence above the 253 because I think him and Kelvin Ridley are going to continue to do what they've been doing. They've established that they're going to be a top connection in the league this year, and I personally have Trevor at the MVP, so I don't see him and Kelvin slowing down at all.
Wow. Chat, do you agree? Do you think we're going more than with Trevor Lawrence, 253 yards? You got 15 seconds. Go ahead. And I like this selection too, Wyatt, because Trevor Lawrence he was the number one prize pick for a while. Everybody was like, you got to tank for Lawrence. And the man is finally living up to it. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
it looks like the chat is agreeing with you.
There. I was just, I didn't know it was about the one I had earlier.
That's on me, Wyatt. I got to explain that better. That was me. But yeah, we're going to go through your 6 pick and see how much you can cook.
It's like
all right. You got the first one. The chat is rocking with you. We're still cooking. Woo! Let's go. Put some more on the plate, baby. So who's your second square?
Pick that I got is Josh Allen throwing more than 254.5. And the reason I got that is because Josh was not the guy that he is that we saw last week. You know, that was not Josh Allen. That's not going to translate into this week. Maybe I'm being biased saying that, but there's just no shot, and I don't see him throwing under that. Less than that.
I think that's really biased. I'm just take that as really biased, but I definitely think Josh Allen, he's got to bounce back. Chat, let's see what he's going with. Are we letting him cook more? Are we letting him cook on Josh Allen more than 254 yards?
They're up against the Raiders.
I think I'm cooking.
There we go.
Let him cook.
Give him the saucepan.
Let him cook.
Bam. All right, so we're good on that one? Or no, is it not yet?
Oh, wait,
no, look at it. We got to give 15 seconds, bro. There's some people that don't believe that. He did look bad last game.
Put it away.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball.
Ding, ding, ding.
He thought him and Whitehead must have been like training together because he was throwing the ball like he was trying to throw it to him. It was bad.
All right.
It looks like they're gonna let you keep cooking, though. They're gonna let you keep cooking. We're gonna keep cooking. We got that as a more than
timer somewhere on the screen that I'm not seeing.
I don't know. This is our first time doing it, so we're freestyling through this one. But we're still cooking. All right. We are definitely cooking.
Glad I'm still cooking. Next up, I got Christian McCaffrey rushing for more than 66.5 yards this week versus the Rams. And that's just because it is Christian McCaffrey, and I don't see him doing anything less than that, especially after throwing up, 130 against Pittsburgh. I just think it's a
lock. I like that, too. Christian McCaffrey seems always like a good one, but at the same time, the Pittsburgh Steelers look terrible, so I don't know if it was the Steelers being bad or McCaffrey being McCaffrey.
The Rams only allowed 85 rushing yards last week, but I'd say cook it. It's Christian McCaffrey.
All right, let's let the chat see. Can the man keep cooking? All right, looks like the votes are coming in early to let you cook.
Smells good.
Next up, it's definitely a cook. Cook it.
Definitely a cook.
I think
All
Brock
right,
Purdy
my next my next square that I had, if this is so certain, we're going back to Jacksonville because as well as Trevor throwing more than 253, I got Calvin Ridley receiving more than 70 and a half yards because,
Exactly.
like I just said, the
Exactly.
connection's there. If one does good, the other one's going to do good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're taking Calvin Ridley to keep it going. Obviously, he had a great game last week. We got Calvin Ridley more than 70 and a half receiving yards. Chat, can the man keep cooking? We're at 4. This is impressive. We got the 4.
You better get
They're letting you cook, man. I think they rocking with you.
If they can't tell,
I don't
I'm a
think-
more guy. I'm always more. Very rarely. I think I did a couple lesses tonight, but I'm always more. I just feel comfortable.
It's
Chiefs
just
defense.
it's funner. It's a funner way to watch the game when you have more.
Fun. I like that. I like that. He says funner too. I always get criticized when I say that. I like
Funner. I feel like
funner
Otto
should be the
Pitt doesn't even-
dictionary.
Oh no! What? I didn't cook there.
Dang.
Wait,
We
on
only got
Calvin
3
Ridley.
down. The chat doesn't like him cooking with Calvin Ridley. I see Steph doesn't look like she approves that much. Do you want to swim a little more? Can you give us a little more insight other than
Yeah,
Trevor
let's-
Lawrence is
let's-
going to
let's
go? Do you
see
have anything
if-
else?
I have a question for chat. What's the logic on Trevor throwing for more than 253,
Right.
but Calvin going less than 70 yards? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is he going to hit up Evan Ingram and
guy-
Zay Jones the entire game?
And Christian
Seriously,
Kirk.
yeah,
I think
guys,
that
let
might
us
be.
know. I really am confused on that one.
That doesn't. I don't understand the logic there.
I mean, yeah, he's got options, but I still.
Well,
think
chat's saying that
Ridley-
Trevor is going to have a good game, but Kelvin's going to have a bad game now. So I don't like that.
He's got options. They're saying he's going to spread the ball out, but still, I think he's
Yeah,
good for it.
Chris.
What else did
I
you
like a
have?
Christian
What
Kirk 60-yard touchdown pass. I think that's what's going to push him on the more there.
He is incredibly underrated.
Yeah, he's overpaid and underrated. It's really weird. All right, well, we let a man cook. We have a pick 3 from him where he's cooking with Trevor Lawrence more than 23 and a half.
That's
Trevor
the
Lawrence more than
record for let him cook, too.
253.
That's
We
the
got
record.
Josh Allen
Your-
more than 2.
your first guess.
Yeah, we're cooking with those 3. I like those 3. I honestly think Ridley gets it too. But we should have kept letting him cook. Christian McCaffrey more than 66 and a half. He has more, you guys, but you guys didn't let the man cook, so we're gonna have to let that thaw out tomorrow, and maybe you can post it on the social channels later, man.
I'll just take the money myself. Screw it.
Now, actually, you know what? I want to hear, just for the sake of it, who's the rest on your pick 6? Who else you got on your pick 6?
Can you mute chat so it's just you guys that benefit from this? I'm just kidding.
right.
So under Ridley, this one they probably wouldn't have cooked with. I had D-Hop, and I don't know if he's playing. I'm assuming that it's just a veteran rest day on his ankle and he's going to play. And assuming he does that, I think he is going to have more than 65 and a half receiving yards versus the Chargers because Staley can't sustain a lead for anything, and he's just going to rip them up, I think. And then the last one I had was Michael Pittman having more than 51 and a half versus Houston because we saw last week him and AR are already going, so I'm just going to assume that they're going to go again.
I love those, actually. I'm cooking with you. I'm eating whatever you just made. I'm eating it, bro. That was a
Appreciate
solid
it.
pick 6 right there. Do we have
Especially on
a
Calvin
graphic of
Ridley.
that? Do we have a graphic we can show to give the people this beautiful 6 pick that's gonna green out?
I hope
If
so.
not, you take your time. We'll put it up at the end of the show. But we're gonna go to the next segment here, guys. Oh, there it goes right there. Look at that. Oh, that's a nice
Hey.
looking. I don't like the fact that Christian McCaffrey and Calvin Ridley aren't smiling, though. That's what scares me. Everybody else is giving us teeth. The rest of them is too
Don't
cool.
face.
So those
How
are the 2 I
well
don't
is
like.
Why he's
McCaffrey's
so
got the
like
mug
literally
shot
there's a lot
going,
of
man.
screen in there. Yeah.
Because everybody thinks he's too nice. He has this nice looks and he runs all pretty. He's got to be mean sometimes. You got a psychological warfare, the Mike Tyson effect.
Did you see the video of like Josh Allen's trash talk versus Joe Burrow, where Josh Allen can get me, but Joe Burrow's just like, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Joe." Did you see that? Where he's just like too nice, but Josh Allen can actually get heated.
I did.
Oh yeah,
not.
Josh Allen.
I
Last
love
year,
when guys are
Josh Allen went full villain mode. He was punching teammates and literally talking stuff. He went from like I'm an MVP candidate to like I'm on Death Row Records. It was very much a unique spin on the Josh Allen train.
Hey, you know what? I will let Josh Allen do whatever he wants to do as long as he's not headbutting people like Baker Mayfield. So just don't do
Oh,
that. Protect the
gosh.
noggin, man. Make sure.
That was so weird. And that he was benched too. Like you were on the bench. Oh, that was so weird. So weird.
I love it. Well, speaking of Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, we're gonna play another segment game, and this is you probably didn't give us picks, so I'll help you out if you need to. We're gonna play the bounce back game. All right, who's a guy who stunk it up last week that you think is gonna bounce back? Obviously, there's a ton of people to pick from Drake London on my Falcons team that didn't get a catch, to T. Higgins, to Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Do you have any people you think that did terrible week 1 but will do much better week 2?
Josh and Joe were both on my list, but Pikachu, I call him Pacheco. I think he's going to be a big factor in the Kansas City offense going forward. He had I don't even know if it was 10 carries or not, but he only had 2.5 yards a bump or something. He was just not very productive at all, but I think his workload kind of affected that. So if he gets going right from the snap, I expect him to have a really good game.
I see your Pikachu
Why does
and raise you entire Chiefs receiving core, because I think that they had over 10% of drops as a whole. I mean, that there are so many drops that game. So I think the whole receiving core can get back on track.
Yeah.
What is going on? Why does Andy Reid hate our fantasy teams and hate our entries, man? I feel like he could have easily gave Pikachu the ball so much, but he's like, get CEH out of there. I don't know if he might be watching it. He's a great guy, but just come on, bro. He's not cutting it. I don't know what's going on there. Is there
It's
anyone
the same thing with
else?
Gibbs. He wasn't getting the ball.
But they won. They won. That's the only difference.
True.
Wyatt, is there any other players, or you were just going to cap it off with Pikachu?
No, I think Ramondre Stevenson, he might have a bounce back week because I think the Patriots are actually going to upset Miami. Well, I think that's an upset. I would assume it's an upset. Yeah, no, I have that one. That I've doubled down. This is a triple down. I've said it 3 times now. And I had another running back, Najee Harris. He only got about 6 carries last week. I have a feeling he's going to get a lot more. Whether he does anything with it or not, I feel like his workload is going to go up. So I would expect him to do more for fantasy reasons.
I like it. That was a bold take on the Dolphins, who are now the favorites of the NFC East. I don't know. What does the chat think? They like Najee to bounce back. They like the Falcons. I've seen a lot of Falcons talk.
That could be
I don't even think it's a trap. I mean, we just saw what happened to Philly. And like I was saying on YouTube earlier, Miami's not Philly. You know what I mean? They have definite weaknesses that I think Bill especially knows how to target. Now, statistically, I think, or historically, Miami kind of owns Bill, I think some would say down there. They've always beaten them when they shouldn't. But this is a situation where the Dolphins should win, and I just don't think they're going to. They're in Foxborough, and they're going to get played hard, man. It's going to be crazy.
Wow.
Excited for the game.
No, I think those teams that always beat teams, it holds true, because the Rams shouldn't beat the Seahawks, but they've been finding a way to beat the Seahawks even when they were bad. So hopefully tradition, well, for your sake, doesn't hold true. I actually think the Miami Dolphins are going to win that.
Bears again, too. Jeez.
Yeah,
all right.
Coming at all. I thought the Bears had it there, you know. Just kidding.
Yeah. As we got there. We're going to get to our next segment. This is a fun one. We're going to need the chat's participation on this one again. We're going to do a segment called Steph versus the guest, which in this case is you, Wyatt. The way we're going to play this is I'm going to give you guys a projection, and we're going to have one of you guys argue the more and the other one argue the less, and then we're going to let the chat give out the point on who they agree with. For the first one, we're going to take Amon St. Brown. He has a prop of 77.5 receiving yards. I'm going to give Steph, give you the less on this one, and Wyatt, I'm going to give you the more. Let's go with you first, Wyatt. Can you argue the more on Amon St. Brown's 77.5 receiving yards?
I will, because I think he will do that because he's the number one there. He's an extremely talented receiver. I don't know if you guys know that he has a list of 16 people drafted before him. I'm making a joke there. We've all heard that a million times. But if you go back to just the Seahawks-Lions game last year, that was a crazy game, and I'm expecting that to happen again. So not only St. Brown, but DK I'm expecting to blow up too, and everybody. But I would expect him to go nearly 100 or more.
Lots of points. I like that. All right, Steph, how we convince the people that he's going to get less than 77.5 yards?
Well, I can see the argument for the less. He only had more than 77.5 receiving yards in 4 of 16 games last year, and he has had less than his projection in 7 of his last 10 games. But The Seahawks did allow the Rams to throw 334 passing yards. That Matt Stafford was able to get over 300. That was the second most passing yards of all of last week. I think that he could go off on them too. He didn't hit that mark against the Chiefs in the last Thursday night football game with only 71 receiving yards and 6 receptions on 9 targets. But based off of the way that the Seahawks defense was last week, I feel like he's in a position where he could have more. He's had it in plenty enough games. He's had a good season as a whole last year, but 77.5 is like a wiggle room spot. I feel like it can teeter either way.
I didn't
All
know
right,
it was
so
so
she's
bad
kicking.
statistically for you
I have
guys
to
when
make
it
a
came to
case for
squares.
the more,
All
but
right.
it is a
You made
tricky
it for the
one.
less there. That was the less.
For-
But yeah, all
for-
right. She's on the fence of more or less. What do you guys take? You guys taking Steph or
Oh, I
we're
got
taking Wyatt
cooked.
with the. Well, it's still going.
Yeah,
We're
I thought
gonna give it
I
15
was trying to
seconds.
make
It
the
looks
argument
like.
for the more. Yeah, I feel like he hasn't been able to get it for several games.
So it looks like we got 2 arguments for the more there, but we'll see who the audience likes. Chat, who do you think? Do you think Amon St. Brown gets more or less than 77.5 yards? We're gonna give it a couple more seconds here. It looks like people like the more because it's funner. I'm a more guy. Not choosing any of you guys' arguments. I just think life's too short to take the less. Is like Big Cat. It's just I don't want to sit there with my heart pounding to the last second. I want him to get it over with, and then relax the rest of it, seeing me green out. All right, it looks like Wyatt won with the more there. We're gonna go ahead and take that. All righty then. Our next one, and this is a doozy here. Baker Mayfield, more or less than 223.5 passing yards. I'm going to give Steph the more there, and I'm going to give Wyatt the less there. We're going to start with you, Wyatt. Can you argue why he's going to get less than 223 passing yards?
No, not other than the fact that he might just go back to being Baker again. I think that the Buccaneers, how they looked against Minnesota and how he looked in general, going against the Bears, who I think are, kind of ran a little bit worse right now, especially I'm impressed with how Flores did. I mean, I'm kind of going off topic now, but with the Vikings right away. So I think Baker is going to be able to actually throw for more considerably on Chicago than he did on Minnesota. So I really can't make much of an argument for the less there. I would think that unless he just reverts back to Cleveland Baker, I think that that's a pretty safe bet. He'll throw more.
All right, we're taking more. All right.
We should just swap them because I am shocked at how high his number is. He hasn't had a big game like when he was traded to the Rams, he had that remarkable Monday Night Football game. Everybody wanted to root for it. I mean, it was a special night, but how rare does that happen? He didn't win over his locker room. His teammates and his teammates' parents didn't even want him as their quarterback. He lost the most loyal fan base of all. Cleveland has had loss after loss, traded quarterback after quarterback, and they are still loyal to the Browns. Yet somehow they weren't to Baker. Just looking at some of his numbers, yeah, he made some mistakes, but he was able to work through them. He completed 34 passes, only 173 yards still, 2 touchdowns. That was against Minnesota. The thing working in his favor, like you said, it is up against Chicago. They don't blitz, and the Bears ranked 24th overall in pressure rate. But Baker, as a starter, he's thrown a pick in 41 of 70 games. That's 58% as a starter. He is going to have a shaky season, I think, but he's got receivers to rely on. So if I have to make a case for the more, it's because it's up against the Bears defense and he's got weapons, but he has not thrown over 200 passing yards for several games. It's not a common occurrence for him. So to have at 225.5, way too high. That's way too high. He only had 107
I was
something.
actually going to say, too, when you started going on, especially what you just said, I am crediting a considerable amount of this to his weapons, though, because I still think Evans and Godwin are a top 5 duo when it comes to talent, and that's probably getting a little bit dated now with the upcoming duos coming into the league. But, I mean, he has those 2 guys, I think, obviously not, but I could walk out there and throw up 250 one day. You know what I mean? Like they're really hard to not be good with is what I'm kind of getting at, but he should be able to do it, I think, still.
Yeah. So we basically said, I'm for the less, he's for the more, I feel like.
Well, what's the chat thing? Chat, do you think he's going to we're going to go Steph with more and less. If you like Baker Mayfield to get more. Go with Steph. If you like him to get less than, we'll go with Wyatt here. Looks like we got an early vote for less than. I don't think the chat's too familiar with Baker's game. Baker's going. If you add the yards he throws to the other team, it's easily over 225.
Unnecessary
flashes,
banter.
guys. Flashes, but he's not a consistent player to even really take a side on. But the more reliable
with me
side
too, but like 223, it's a lot when it comes to, you know, the general consensus 223. It's half the people I don't think even hit that last week, but it's not 330. It's not 300. It's not even 275 for yardage. So I feel like it's just like, you know, anybody can kind of go out there and do that. Mike White can go out there and do it. You know, Baker Mayfield can make it happen.
Well, Mike White's a beast. But in also, this is just me giving my 2 cents. Mike Evans got Johnny Manziel a Heisman Trophy. I mean, I think he can give Baker Mayfield 225 yards.
Mike has been dropping, though, man. He's been dropping. I'm noticing it. It seems like it's once a game he's not connecting with the pass that he usually would have 2-3 years ago.
I got you.
Yeah,
well,
he's
look,
had over 200
so
in his 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
There we go. Well, more so of the games on the weekend that people are looking forward to. There's a game tonight. We got Thursday night football. I don't know if this is a big one for you, Wyatt, because I was watching your Q&As, and it seems like your dad's a big Vikings fan. But then I saw the entries you gave us. I don't know if you're taking them, but how we feel about the Vikings? Do you like them as a team?
You're talking just the actual, and not tonight, just the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, I mean, I support them. Always will. You know, I live in Minnesota. It's my stomping grounds. Tonight, no, I think they're going to get absolutely destroyed. But no, I support them. Just they're always going to be a number 2.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I was watching a bunch of your Q&As and watching how you just kind of shot up. Like, literally, people just loved you right away. And you on YouTube, you're just a man. But you were saying how, like, you chose the Bills just because. What was the reason why you became a Bills fan again?
I never played or watched football or nothing like that as a kid. So anytime I would play on Madden with my brother or friends, I would just go through the teams, and I would always pick the Bills because I like the logo and the colors and their uniform. So I'd always play as them. And then when I started actually watching football, it's like, I guess I can watch the Bills now. And then it's kind of just been a weird obsession ever since.
And now you got to break tables, man. Well,
I was going to say, what's your perspective of the matchup between Slay and Justin Jefferson? Because there's the talk of this game is like there's tension between them. Slay really didn't let Justin Jefferson go off much at all in their last matchup. It's kind of like a rivalry between the two of them. Who gets the best of this in this one tonight?
Well, the thing about Slay, I think people often, you know, he is special in the sense of how good he is, but he's also special in the sense of longevity. And a lot of people look at his age and they're just like, he's not good anymore. And they've been saying that the last 3 years about the guy. So I'm always going to assume he's going to put up a rough battle no matter who it's against, even if it's against a guy who I think is the best receiver in the league like Jefferson. However, I don't necessarily, if this game goes how I think it's going to, it's not going to really have anything to do with Jefferson. It's going to have everything to do with Kirk just not having a second to give him a look, a pass. I think he is just going to get bullied the entire game. So, you know, whether Slay is all over Jefferson or not, I don't have Jefferson getting nearly his projection here. I don't have him probably getting even 5 receptions tonight, if I'm being honest. So I guess Slay, but I think it's going to have more to do with Kirk being suffocated.
Ooh.
What about the luck that would, like, saying that luck was on their side last year? They won 11 of 11 one-score games last year. The talk was it was luck, or do you think it was their team? They got lucky with injuries, but what would you account for those?
Well, I drove to the Bills game to watch that in person. So I'll go ahead and say luck out of spite because that was a long drive home.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the Vikings last year, when it comes down to it, it doesn't look good if you want to look at it that way because it's luck. But you can also look at it at the standpoint that they're a team that knows how to win when they absolutely have to, whether it's by a point, whether it's by a blowout, they got it done. You know, 13 times, 12 times, whatever it was last year. That's a pretty good way or a pretty good, you know, visual for people to look at. You know, whether you think they're lucky or not, they're winning games, man. A lot of teams didn't do that last year. So,
well, we got you. This is Wyatt's picks for this Thursday night. The chat's already going in on them saying they like some and don't like any. Just to go over it, you got Kirk Cousins less than his passing yard projections with Justin Jefferson going less than on his receiving yards. You got Alexander Madison less than on rushing yards. And more on all the Eagles guys and more on the Greg Joseph kicker for the Vikings. Safe to say that you don't think there's going to be a close game at all.
No, I think I got like 30-13. I think that Joseph will, his leg is going to be the source of 6 of the points, obviously, with that. But going to the Madison pick, I don't think he's good. I mean, I know that sounds very blunt, but I don't think the guy's good at all. And I think that kind of showed last week. I don't expect him to bounce back at all. I expect him to get bullied. And again, with the Kirk and Jefferson thing, I said it on YouTube, and it sounds harsh. It's going to sound like I'm a hater, even though I'm not. I think this is going to be a Kirk game where he does really, really terrible and gets slandered for a week. And then next week, he's going to go throw up 450 and 4 touchdowns and, be back in the top 10 bubble. So as far as the Eagles go, yeah, Jalen is honestly the most spotty one I have here because that is it's the 250 mark. We were talking Baker, the 223. Now we're up to 250. And Jalen's a guy that some games he's going to throw it and some games he's going to run it, himself 3 times into the end zone. And it's going to take away some time when he could have gotten air yards. But if he's going to throw 250, I've got Devontae getting 62. And again, Joseph being the leg of the Vikings, I have him getting 2 field goals. So
I like it, man. You see that, you guys? If you like it, you want to rock with my guy Wyatt, you guys can get that 6 pick, and we'll have some fun with that. As far as Super Bowl picks, I just want to get your Super Bowl pick. Obviously, as a Bills fan, who you think wins it all, man?
If you would have asked me last week,
not to
I would have
put
said
you on
Buffalo. But now I'm gonna go with the person that I thought they were gonna meet there, and I'm gonna actually say it's unfortunately Dallas's year this year. I think they're gonna do it.
Whoa!
Oh boy,
that's a bomb, bro.
Oh boy. I grew up a Cowboys fan, and I would love to see it, but I've not seen a single great playoff from them. So hopefully,
I'm just going with it. I really like their offseason, and last week is only gonna, make my point within my head grow even bigger. So it's just like at this point, if they're gonna go out there and blow teams out 40-0, they're gonna go all the way and do it. So
you think they'll beat out the Eagles?
What is that?
You think they're gonna beat out the Eagles?
In the playoffs, it'll have to happen. Whether it's the seeding, whether if it's Philly losing to someone else or Dallas beating them out, yeah. Ultimately, I think they will go farther than Philly.
We're going to clip that part out. We're going to get you saying you think the Cowboys go to the championship. We're going to put that on social media, and you're going to get a bunch of really, really bad Cowboy fans that probably make you go to 400,000 YouTube subscribers because they have an infinite amount of fan base. I hope the Cowboys don't win because I can't take the amount of Cowboy jerseys, the Emmitt Smith jerseys, and people just being drunk and belligerent. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but that's what it is, guys. We are definitely getting to our past our time here. We're supposed to go there. I see my man LaRuski. That's my guy. He's a fellow Falcons fan talking about Jesse Bates, Defensive Player of the Year, Ritter. We're going to wrap this show up, though, guys. Obviously, we want you guys to enjoy this. Wyatt, is there anything you want the people to know, man? Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to say?
The Bills are the best team in the world, and use code Wyatt's World to match up to $100 of your first deposit. Always play responsibly.
Oh, I like it. That was great. That was a great read right there. I like the tone.
It's almost like I say that before every one of the videos or something. It's crazy.
Oh man. Well, look, man, we are thankful you being here. Obviously, you guys seen his picks, guys. If you're telling them, I know you guys are looking for promos. We don't have any on here yet, but next week when we get way more, we'll probably get some from the promotion team. But check your promos tab. And Wyatt, thank you for having fun with us on Cheat Sheets today. Steph, anything from you?
I mean, I'm ready for another week. Last week I felt pretty confident, but Monday Night Football really ripped me apart. So, well, this week is going to be another good week. Please, no injuries.
All right.
Please, injuries.
All right. Well, when you green out on your 6-pick, Wyatt, we'll have you do a little social clip for us. Other than that, man, enjoy watching football this weekend. You guys watching, please come back next week. Also, I'll be doing sweat sessions at the fourth quarter of today's game on our Discord channel. So hop on and have some fun with me. Thank you, guys. This has been Cheat Sheet.